好了，各位观众，欢迎来到本周最后一天的 LPL。先来看一下昨天最后一场较量 ，EDG 最终是2比0带走了 W8，稳住了自己积分榜靠前的位置。
年轻的 W8 确实还是面对老道的 EDG， 实力上确实差距还是蛮大。
没错。
Hello, hello, ladies and gentlemen. It is time for the LPL to begin. Of course, it is Week 8, Day 3. We'll be getting into the first games in just a moment as they're flashing the last games that we saw about 24 hours ago on your screen. I'm Pyrotechnics, joined on the cast tonight by Froskarin, who is, I'm assuming, very excited to get going with this one. How you doing, Frosk?
I am so ready, but I think you got that from the messages I was spamming you just moments ago.
Yeah, it was blowing me up there, and I can see why. I can definitely see why the excitement is palpable inside the stadium as well. You, of course, have OMG, first place OMG, taking on Starhorn Royal Club, who, in its earlier incarnation, was actually one of the big reasons why there wasn't as much of an impact for OMG at last year's Worlds.
Oh, yes. Royal, as they were then known, actually came out with a little bit of a cheese strategy against OMG. A lot of Chinese fans said, you know, it should have been OMG that made it. It shouldn't have been the finals between SK and Royal Club, but that was almost a completely different roster, actually, from the current Starhorn Royal Club. In fact, a completely different team. They have a new logo, new name, new everything. But going into this, like you said, first place OMG against fourth place Starhorn Royal Club, and then after that we have third place World Elite versus, I think they're 6th or 5th right now, Invictus Gaming. I believe they're 6th.
We can, of course, throw that one up on the screen real quick. Yep, 5th place Invictus. They're right in front of LGD, actually. So these games have a potential to really upset the standings. However, OMG, regardless of the end of this, will sit at the top at the end of the day, as their only close challengers, Edward Gaming, not playing tonight. There you go, looking on your screen right now. Starhorn have looked not too bad, but remember, most of their earlier matches in this split have been against easier teams. The roughest ladder schedule is theirs, and it starts with OMG tonight.
Oh yes, the back half of this is going to get real rough, but we're already into the player roster, so up in the top lane it's going to be Cola for Starhorn. Cola, very well known for, it's almost like a Zion Spartan-esque style of top lane play. Plays Jax, plays Shyvana, but he's very much, you know, come look at me, kind of up there with Going. Has picked up the Gragas.
Yep, and of course, also you see Insec in the jungle. He's gotten Lee Sin a couple of times recently now. Of course, he is pretty much the quintessential Lee Sin player among an entire sea of them in China, but he has gone a little bit, you might have made the term hero mode last couple times.
Oh yes, speaking of hero mode, joining him in that 2v2 jungle mid lane is going to be Korn. Korn is an assassin player, has seen a lot of Fizz, some Yasuo, even got a Lux in there right now, but speaking of hero, speaking of going ham, in second Korn, definitely. And then of course in the bot lane, probably the most recognizable face, you can hear the crowd light up for him, Uzi.
Yep, they like him too, and you know, you talked about a different roster, but, well, Uzi, he's seen it all, he's been there, and of course he's still sitting on that roster. Very famous AD carry.
Definitely. And next to him is not going to be Tabe, but it is going to be Zero. So one of the Korean transplants come over, and probably the most successful Korean transplant. I would dare to say possibly the best support in LPL right now.
That is a bold statement, but not necessarily untrue. He has definitely been a big part of his team's relative success. And of course, over on the other side, their challengers, their opponents for tonight, the first place OMG, who have had quite the notable set of games as of late, although coming at the expense of teams like World Elite and LGD, really been able to pick them off.
I would like to point out to that defeat on the bottom. Who is that, Pyre? Is that
the IG hype? All right, I didn't think we'd get into that this soon. Yeah, they did manage to 1-1, and that wasn't OMG looking bad. That was actually Invictus stepping up, but they're already into, of course, the players, and Cloud back on the support role. They're pretty happy to have him, as they just have not looked the same without him, and he came back I think it was about a week or two ago, after having some exams. Couldn't really do much before then, and they had to use a number of subs, of course.
And it's really important to have a strong support. You see Son coming up the AD carry for OMG. Son isn't relatively known. Like, a lot of people won't hype up Son. A lot of fans will actually put him underneath Uzi, which I feel is kind of incorrect. I feel Son's team fighting is really strong, but he does need a very powerful support to kind of help him and guide him and hold his hand through that lane phase.
Cool. His hair's growing back out again, and he has been also fairly instrumental in this, and they're happy to have him back too. Cool. One of those really, really well-known mid laners, one of those elite ones that is all too rare in China, it seems.
There's actually been kind of a resurgence of mid coming back up, but first of all, we're going to talk about Alan, also shaving off his head. Alan, Loveland, Drug.
They're all the same.
All the same guy. Pioneered a very specific style of jungle at the last Worlds, the aggressive Elise invade kill you jungle. That was all him. And then finishing off in the top lane is going to be the most recognizable face, probably of LPL, definitely of OMG. It's going to be going in that top lane.
Big applause.
Exactly. The quintessential top laner. I mean, you talk about PDD, going was right up there. It's literally something that you tack onto your resume as a Chinese player if you ever beat going in lane.
Yeah, or if you beat his Ryze in particular, too, known as the strongest Ryze player. But he also loves bruisers as well, and you've seen him playing quite a lot of those. Tonight we are on patch 4.11 with the jungle buffs. We expect to see some interesting shenanigans. Did get to see Maokai. At least once. It would have been twice, but there was a tragic remake of a game. Hopefully it doesn't happen tonight, as first picks and bans already coming out. No Maokai this time, though.
Nope, but a Lulu ban taken off the board away from Cool. That's kind of curious there. Kassadin, expected. Now, the issue... Yeah, the issue with trying to ban out Cool, you see a lot of bans whether it be focused on the jungler or mid in China. The issue here is that the jungle and the mid for OMG are so versatile. They've tried focusing down Loveland Drug's champion pool when he first moved back over into the jungle, but they just figured out really quickly that they couldn't do it. He can play Lee Sin, he can play Rengar, he can play Jarvan, found a lot of success on that champion. Eve, he can do it all.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to ban someone like that out. And speaking of bans, Lee Sin taken off the table as well for OMG, but I want to talk about Maokai. He really has been almost 100% pick ban rate since 4.11, and we didn't see that a lot in other regions. What do you think contributes to that, especially in China?
The Maokai? China, they play on Korean servers. Like, this cannot be understated, that a lot of people think that they're isolated, that they never play with the Koreans. They play with the Koreans a lot. And so you'll start to see things, especially like last split, OMG actually picked up the Graves Twisted Fate when that had its short stint of being quote-unquote OP before even the patch shifted to them being strong, just because they wanted to test the composition knowing that it was coming up on a patch. So you'll see that a lot, that they'll be able to pick up those things instantaneously. Like, the patch doesn't necessarily slow them down. Yes, they don't get to play with it as much or experiment with it as much in competitive play, but they do prepare for those changes coming.
Yeah, they definitely have a lot better current game sense than the patch would suggest. Meanwhile, Insect received a lot of bans on the end of this one, but they're not too worried about it right now. Wow, that's a quick fizz lock in for Korn. Oh wow, double AP I guess when you consider the Gragas, but they don't seem too perturbed by it on OMG.
And that's not Frieza, for those of you who maybe knew. That is Shyvana, so it's going to be
the purple
Shyvana
threw me off just a little bit.
Shyvana versus Gragas in the top lane. Which, I don't know if you saw the last OMG game where Going played Shyvana. There was some pretty fancy footwork. That was almost like Lord Flame level of footwork.
Yeah, it got a little bit crazy. And speaking of crazy, this composition from Starhorn starting to shape up. Braum being picked up now for 0, of course. Cloud already got his Thresh, and Jarvan. I think this is something that Alan is going to favor especially, and no qualms about it whatsoever. Immediate lock-in on the Lucian. Can't afford to
So
get
again,
that.
4.11, it is going to be normal Lucian. This isn't, CDR-based Lucian, E every 2 seconds Lucian. This is standard Lucian before all of the changes.
Still strong, yes. Okay, what do they answer with an AD carry? Uzi eyeballing the Kog'Maw now. And then they might go for the Jarvan. Insect can play this champion, of course, but interesting that the Elise was opted for, considering, yeah, you've got your top 3 jungles already taken away. Evelynn, not really a huge Insect champion, I would think.
He's done it all. These 2 junglers going in, obviously very experienced in the length of time that they've played their roles. Of course, Drug took his short stint of a break when he subbed in as the support for OMG, and Pamela was jungling. Of course, now back in the jungle, picking up that Elise, a big, well-known comfort champion for him, although he has seen a lot of recent success on that Jarvan, actually, so I'm very curious that he didn't choose to go that route, especially as Cool's possibly hovering the Orianna.
Although Elise serves some of the same purpose as well. They have a pretty nice movement-based composition. The ball combo delivery system we like to refer to. Definitely works with Going's Dragon's Descent. It's going to work well with Repel, but they opt not to go for it anyways instead. Last minute switch over to Twisted Fate, which might be a decent pickup just to deal with Fizz's constant jumping around. The card's going a lot of directions. One of them's bound to hit, right?
I just keep making it stick. That said, that mid lane should be incredibly rough for Cool. I'm going to give that 100% over to Fizz. He can obviously dodge out of the animation from the gold card coming around with the stripper pole. He can bully Twisted Fate. He has a lot more options to 100-0 Twisted Fate, whereas TF doesn't. I always talk about Twisted Fate only brings really 2 abilities to lane to help him. It's not like in the middle of a massive team fight. Obviously, Fizz is going to lead with his ultimate, and then he's just going to jump all over you and just smash all his buttons on your face. And hopefully you'll die. It's not like in the middle of a giant team fight in the mid lane, Twisted Fate's like, oh, if I press my R button, it'll suddenly make me win this fight. Now, obviously, he uses that to affect his surrounding lane, so we'll see if Cool can pull off a little bit of a Messiah here, although the last time he played Twisted Fate, I could have sworn it was Messiah playing him. He was all over the map.
It's a pretty crazy play we've been seeing out of the side of OMG. It's one of the reasons they've been able to stick to the top so far. Let's see if they can do it again tonight. Definitely coming in as the favorites, and Starhorn have a lot riding on this when they want to maintain their positioning for the playoffs, and if they lose 2-0 here, it's certainly not going to help them out. IG could even leapfrog them after this if they take a couple games off.
Speaking of playoffs, you're absolutely right. The only team right now that is 100% locked into their playoff position is OMG. Everyone else underneath them, things can still go drastically wrong. There are about 3 sets left for every team to play. I think World Elite might be the one exception just because they had that stint where they played, 3 games back to back to back. So the heat is definitely on for World Elite. Starhorn Royal Club, if they win here, like you said, they could definitely leapfrog over. But if World Elite lose to Invictus Gaming, Invictus Gaming is going to leapfrog and tie up to World Elite, and it could be good night, Sweet Prince, for World Elite's shot at Worlds.
Yep, and that would not be particularly warranted by all their fans. Something they are trying to avoid, being a pretty popular team in their own right. But let's see. This isn't about them tonight. Tonight it's OMG and Starhorn Royal Club taking to the Rift right now. Up in the top, in the red shorts, it's going to be OMG, and of course their opponent, Starhorn, in the blue, coming out swinging out of the gates. And look at this, curiously. I guess this makes a lot of sense. Korn picking up the flask first for a lot of sustain.
Oh, he's still against a ranged opponent. You'll see some Fizzes do that. He doesn't lose a lot of damage just because his initial burst, the fact that he has like a dot, is so high. So. Also kind of the cool respect. You have to recognize that he may be kind of down and out in that champion matchup, but that is still possibly the best mid laner in China right now. Possibly one of the best in the world. I know that Cool was recognized for being able to go toe-to-toe with Faker when Faker was in his prime. I believe he took a couple kills off him. They took a game off of SK.
Yeah, they've definitely been able to prove, or they've proved that they're able to tangle with the best, and Cool going for some pretty hot summoners, actually. He's not been going for the Dade strategy with the Ghost and Flash. Instead, he prefers to go for the more kill-centric Ignite. As we see everyone taking their places, line of scrimmage so far. No lane swaps incoming. There's still time for that, of course, but I feel like Uzi and Zero really want this 2v2.
Definitely. And it fits in Uzi's MO. He's a very cocky, very arrogant player.
The way you said that suggests that you don't quite believe in him.
Here's the #1 problem with Uzi, and you'll see this over and over and over again. It's almost like he got the reputation for being this god tier. Like, don't get me wrong, he has god tier mechanics, but they all have god tier mechanics. Uzi literally pulls double lifts every single day. He like flashes into all 5 people, and then he just uses his god tier mechanics to survive situations that he should just not have. And then people are like, oh my god, this guy's so good. Well, if he was a little bit smarter, he wouldn't have to work that hard or put so much strain on his team to dig him out of the shitty places that he puts himself in. So we'll see if this goes a little bit better, if Zero's able to reel him in, especially on that Braum.
And slash rant as it starts out. We'll see if Braum can help a little bit. You can definitely count on a lot of body blocks that way, and they want to get the Kog'Maw up to the later game stages, whereas San is going to have that power spike really more towards the mid, and he's going to have this early advantage as well. So everything starts out pretty normal, but you can already tell pressure is on the side of OMG. You see Going Shyvana pushing out in the top, whereas in the bot lane, San and Cloud are giving respectful distance to Zero and Uzi, but it's it's respected right now.
And this is to be expected. Uzi has a very strong laning phase where, again, we talk about, I wouldn't necessarily say Son's laning is that powerful. He's very well known for his team fight presence. I think Kelsey likes to call him the knife in the back from OMG. No one really suspects him kind of sneaking up. They all talk about, you know, cool and going, but Son really shows up in those team fights. But the lane phase, you need someone like Cloud to really guide him through it.
Yeah, so far succeeding at that. And curious pickup too, they want to have a lot of extra regeneration. So you see the Doran shield start for Cloud versus the more conventional Braum pickup of the Relic shield. Insec and Drug now. Who's chasing who? Insec might be baiting into bush. No help there. No, it's cool. They're just going to see each other out and say hi, wave hello. Non-aggression pact sign for the first couple minutes.
Everything pretty standard right now, very slow pace. You see the junglers making their rounds. They have their double buffs. I expect that we'll see probably a gank on mid.
It's hard to gank both these champions, though. You look at Cool and Korn and who they're on. They have a lot of escape abilities anyways. Maybe Cool less so. But you'd think that this is pretty much the prime target for Insect to work with, but instead he seems a little bit more comfortable staying in the jungle. Meanwhile, Drug's going to find Cola out there. This could be the first blood. Burning the flash on the Fat Man. Repel comes up going forward, and that is going to be one more hit, but Drug committing very hard. He could go down here, and he stays alive. Oh, the minions! Oh, he goes down. Oh, man. And that's a 1-1. OMG.
That is really unfortunate.
Overcommitment there. Now Zero trying to capitalize on the confusion. Meanwhile, Insect went up to the top to help Going, who gets Going out of there. Or not help Going, help take him down, rather. And they can't quite get anything.
So a bit of a mechanical misstep from Going. I think there was just some failure of communication. Obviously, good job. You got the first blood. I believe, yeah, it went over to Drug. So he loses his double buffs, but he picks up the extra gold from the first blood. So, you know, that's kind of a toss-up of whether that was necessarily worth it for the jungler. Obviously, losing that double, incredibly harmful to that early game, especially, you know, 5 minutes in. He's got another 2 minutes and 30 seconds before he gets his next set. Going could have completely solved that if he had actually engaged the wave. Well, hold up a second, because Insec and Drug have now found each other again.
Called the game of chicken. Insec wants to get on out of there as he saw Cool coming around the side. Corn was in hot pursuit
Spider
there.
Skitter.
Yep. Skitter.
He had red buff, too. He wasn't scared.
Nope. So he must have been able to pick that one up again, too. Whoa, Insec, he's backing right now. Hello. That's going to be another kill over, or is it Insec trying to flag and drag away? And he does. But Drug not giving him an ounce of leeway in that one. Meanwhile, pressure's being turned on in the bot side. Zero and Uzi pushing forward on the weakened Cloud and Son for just a moment. See if relief doesn't come there soon. But Drug, he's counter jungling right now. This is going to be pain in somewhere rather for Insec. I'm not really sure where, but he's going to feel it pretty soon.
Is this season 2?
Yeah.
No, this is literally the play style that Loveland at the time was recognized for. Benji had said, you know, this guy pioneered a style of Elise play that Elise that we used to see. Literally, she would invade the red buff and she would kill your jungler at level 2 on that red. Occasionally, it turned into, you know, Elise's would take Doran's blades and like show up on your red buff and just ruin your day. That came from Loveland. He loves to do that. He's already starting to go back to his roots. You know, he buys a pink ward initially, spending that first blood gold, turning into vision gold, and then turning into aggression and making Insect pay, like really working his jungler. And this is a jungle that has, I mean, this is Insect. He jungled for the KT Bolts. I won't say he's like the greatest jungler of Korea. Obviously, he was on kind of a decline when he came over to China, but you know, he had been jungling longer at the time due to Loveland taking his break as a support. So
he's definitely a mechanically proficient player, too, and he's looking to make a play on the bot, see if he can give himself a little redemption here. Zero going to get hooked in, but that means Uzi is going to flash forward to take down Son. Drug's in the party, but it is a 2v3. They don't know if they want to take that one. Cloud's going to fall down. Uzi get himself his first kill of the game. Everybody on Starhorn getting out alive. And how about this? OMG's a little bit on the down and down, but Cool comes around the side, takes down Zero with a couple of cards. Insect tries to get out of there, trying his luck as a teleport comes in from Cole. Uzi getting locked up on the cocoon. They don't have the follow-through damage. That's going to be a back away, but in the end, it ends up being a couple of trades. Oh, they're not done yet. Drug, Cola is beating him down with that keg. How do you squish a spider? Apparently that's not enough. They'll still back away, but it was a close miss, and OMG on the back foot.
Beautiful teleport from Cole to actually save Uzigai's life. You saw that he got locked up by the cocoon, and Cool actually already had the gold card. He could have stepped forward and chained that CC and instantly bursted that cog. Cole's teleport, though he loses the CS, going doing a good job making sure that wave is shoved in so some sort of consequence comes to him, but that teleport definitely saved his little Kog'Maw's life.
Yeah, certainly provided Uzi with the means of escape. Now Corn and Insec getting double time on the blue buff. Cool gets a minor reprieve, but he's been pushing out this mid lane just fine. You look at the way the gold's set up, it's pretty much dead even despite slightly being down on the kill count. It really doesn't matter too much. Yeah, that happened.
I mean, obviously doing that so he can pick his cards more often. He can't run out of mana because he's got blue card in the lane, so it makes sense getting that gate more often as well. It really just tells me that Cool is looking to play that Messiah Twisted Fate, get involved everywhere on the map as soon as the gate's up, you know, utilizing it in a bottom lane. I mean, that was literally as soon as your 6 showed up in bottom to try to make something go even there.
Yeah, meanwhile his counterpart's going for the early Lich Bane build, of course, pretty common as well. And he's got a blue buff also, so he's not going to run out of mana anytime soon. However, might run into Drug in just a moment. Gets a ward out. Woo, back away. There's a big spider there.
It's starting to be more common for Elises to rush Spirit Stone. We'll see if that's the case with Drug here.
Kill it! Kill it! Okay, he gets it. Dude, what are you waiting for? Yeah, that,
they've got so much synergy, too, because they shaved their heads together when their air conditioner went out, and
yeah, that was not them vowing to become monks or anything. Definitely because of the heat. I can sympathize. It's pretty hot. It's a hot summer.
It's very hot. I can only imagine how hot it is in China.
Oh yeah, especially without air conditioning.
Uh-oh.
That ward. Dot.
He's able to do that, though, because it is Fizz again. You think about the... even though Cool saw him and he knew Drug was rotating over, he could not afford to eat a clean shark in a small choke point like that. Like, that's pretty much a guaranteed ult ignite, 100 to 0. Even if Drug got there, there's no guarantee that he'd be able to catch him, so...
Yeah, it's hard to punish a roaming Fizz, definitely. They did knock down a couple of wards there. And you look at the vision, it's pretty much all centered around the river right now. They want to control the dragon area, but it seems very loosely populated there. Zero gets a decent one down. Drug should be able to see him out doing it. And Insec might run in to Drug in just a moment, but Korn's coming with. These two junglers have been on a collision course most of this game.
Very aggressive styles from both of them, and I like what Insec's doing. So because they had vision, they know that Alan is in this side of the jungle. And he effectively wants him to walk into it.
Hello! He's got the flash available, he's not using... Oh, he doesn't have it! No, excuse me! He's gonna go down, that's cool! Insec following him. Back to Fountain 1-for-1 trade, but Drug is on the wrong side of this tower. Well, actually, it's Korn who's on the wrong side of the tower. Playful Trickster, though, means he doesn't take any aggro from it just yet. And Korn gets himself a kill, 2-for-1, favor of Starhorn.
Really nice job from Korn. I believe I saw the animation of the cocoon go, but it didn't connect. I didn't see what direction it may have ricocheted off. If it didn't connect, I assume it's because Korn did a good job placing himself literally on top of Elise, so it was probably just, you know, like that slight millimeter that it cast behind him, and Korn looked like he was behind him, but it just didn't pan out. Other big thing is the teleport was started and cancelled. I don't know if it was necessarily cancelled from Cola, I didn't see where his cast cooldown went, or if it was going saying, you know, he's fine, he's got this, he's on tower.
Yeah, really not sure. It seemed kind of chaotic, and Cool
the cast
really didn't
is
know
on
what hit him.
cooldown.
Yeah, so... Well, Cola, speaking of cast, pushing up in the top side. Going has actually been pushed in just a little bit, but he's still up in farm. And you can see he's had to modify his build just a little bit because of the AP damage being dealt by Gragas. This is 411 Gragas, very, very hard to deal with, especially. So he goes for the Negatron Cloak early.
Going, doing his thing, farming those golems and then returning to his lane. Probably why, like you said, he is ahead on CS. Of course, Gragas, waiting for his power spike, has that catalyst available to him, so going to be going more of at least a bruiser AP for now.
Son! Oh, you gotta be careful. Doesn't take the lantern, trusting his own dash. Hey man, that thing stole his wife's soul. He's not gonna ride that.
He'd rather ride that than deal with Uzi up close.
Yeah, it seems to be the case. This is going to open up Dragon pressure for Starhorn, and they are really trying to make this aggressive opener. This is definitely more of a Starhorn style versus OMG's controlled game pace, which they're keeping up with relatively well, but if they start giving up these objectives, Starhorn can pull ahead in this game and make a pretty big statement, too. With the Lich Bane complete on Fizz as well, this is going to get a little bit hairy for OMG to deal with.
Definitely, and it really swung to the power spike of Uzi getting his level 6 and immediately the shift of power in that lane, although they've been in control of it for a majority of this time. Just goes, again, to talk about, San is so weak in the lane phase compared to Uzi.
Yeah, and that's kind of the issue, is that San didn't make a big enough dent in this lane before this kind of started to happen.
All the control of the bot lane, and kind of paid for it.
Well, he's down in farm. He's got one death. He gave one up to Uzi. I mean, that's probably the matchup that Starhorn, out of all these lanes, is likely to win anyways. So they really focused heavily on it, and it's helped them snowball. However, they are leaving their tower undefended. San and Cloud going to make moves on this one. Lucian trying to clear away the minions, deny as much farm as he possibly can from this bot lane duo. And that is exactly what they need to do right now to start getting back into this one. Farm's been caught up on for the time being. However, that power spike, you're right, the Trinity Force versus just a couple pieces of Eye-Edge, it's going to be a hard time for San.
It's huge. That lane is very scary for him right now, especially if Insect decides to wander his way down there. And unfortunately, it's not going to get better as far as that 1v1 matchup. Kog'Maw, of course, is going to naturally outscale Lucian. Even if Lucian decides to go more of a late-game-oriented build with that Eye-Edge, it doesn't necessarily mean much. So it's up to the rest of OMG or the other members to really make a dent and for San to find a different role in his team, rather than just trying to outperform Kog'Maw.
Well, San's not the only one having a little bit of trouble. Going rushes for the Banshee's Veil. That is really interesting, that he goes that item before finishing anything else.
It doesn't hurt him that much. I mean, obviously it helps him a lot in his 1v1 match, but also makes it so he can get his teleport off a little bit more. I mean, there's still tools for Gragas. He can belly bop into like a cask if he wants to be like really cheeky, pop the Banshee Veil. But it doesn't necessarily help or slow down, stop or slow down any of his farming potential with Shyvana, especially in the early game.
That's true. It doesn't hurt to get early tanky, but you usually see that as more of a later game item anyways. And now everyone on Starhorn wants a piece of this bot lane. Cloud and San realize something is wrong. Insect gonna flag and drag in. There is a ward there. They're trying to bail out, and they do. Oh, that could have been real bad for that bot lane combo right there. And Starhorn making power plays, but will it amount to anything? Cool gets to answer for a tower in the mid right now, as well as Drug gets to be going up to the top side. That was a nice move from OMG, and even more nice. Whoa! He's knocked into tower range for just a moment, but it's not going to last long. Cola's going down. Triple teamed by OMG, and they answer back. Zero and Uzi making moves in the bot side, but they don't get anything for it but Cloud. However, they will be able to pick up a tower here. 2 towers, actually, as Uzi takes out the bot side.
No reason for Cloud to die right there. Just miscommunication, mispositioning. Obviously a nice rotation from both teams. OMG to respond to the resources expended bottom to find the kill up into the top lane, although that kill doesn't necessarily translate into any sort of global objective. So Starhorn definitely got the better of that trade.
Yeah, 2 towers, 1 kill just for 1. They might trade top tower in a minute. Going could pick it up, but let's see this replay down bot. So San and Cloud stick around, perhaps unwisely. Glacial Fissure comes up, only gets 0. Only gets Cloud, but it's enough to take him down, and then they just kind of followed from there.
It's really the power of that Trinity Force at that point.
Yeah, you cannot duel with Kog'Maw, and they should have just left the tower alone, but for whatever reason, OMG went back in on this one now. They do have a little bit more map pressure on that bot side. For when the Dragon respawns, they'll be okay to take that one. Free farm lane opened up for Cola in the top, and in the meanwhile, San, be so careful, don't want to get stunned up there as Uzi and Zero continue their dominance push here as everyone from OMG tries to rotate towards the bot side of the jungle.
Dragon is going to be spawning in 2 minutes. I don't believe OMG had the timer initially, but they know kind of the area of when it went down. Do have good vision control of that area though, so they will see when it spawns, but we'll see if they're actually able to beat Starhorn Royal Club to the punch as far as setting up for it.
It's going to be hard. 2-0 Kog'Maw, 2-0 Fizz. I mean, these are the 2 carries that have all the kills right now.
And Fizz is coming up onto a major power spike in that mid game. Obviously, Fizz late game is pretty terrifying, but traditionally it's about that mid game terror.
And he's still getting a bit of sustain off the flask. It's probably not going to be useful for too much longer anyways, but he is becoming so mobile. Once he turns that needlessly large rod into, guessing he goes the Zhonya's route. Although he could go completely all out and get the death cap anyways. It's going to be a little bit hard to deal with on Cool. And whoa, Drug is having a hard time with Corn and Zero. Bail out of there, going, moving on to Insec. All of a sudden, everybody is in this mid side, and nothing really comes of it. But they're just going to make these showings of force until the Dragon ends up getting secured. I think Starhorn is in a much better position to take this, though.
It's very smart for Starhorn to also pick these fights in the mid lane because it punishes Cool's ult. Like, obviously, if you pick a fight to the bottom, you pick a fight to the top, it can quickly become a numbers disadvantage if OMG A find the Destiny and B, you know, find the rotation on a ward and kind of rotate up there. If they find the fight in the mid lane, again, it's not like Cool's going to save himself by, hey, if I press R here, I'll suddenly win the fight.
Yeah.
It's the Korean theory of ganking the teleport, which I really respect.
Well, and they're doing a good job at making sure that that's not a surprise element anymore. The problem is they're neglecting everything else, and when Korn and Uzi are getting to this level that they just can't compete with, Starhorn is going to be able to make muscle moves all over the map. Now they're clearing out wards, sweepers coming out, and there's really no reaction from OMG. This Dragon's going to be given up for free.
And this was my my concern, that they didn't necessarily have the perfect timer on it, and Starhorn Royal Club are very clean in their objective control. Probably comes down to the fact that they do have Insect as their jungler.
Big playmaker. Not to say that Drug isn't, but he's definitely going for a more gang-centric kind of jungle.
Exactly. Like, Starhorn's style is very much more objective-oriented, which kind of, it fits really well with the historic past, not even this roster of Royal Club in general. Like, you go even all the way back to their Fnatic game at Worlds. They actually had less kills than Fnatic, but they ended up winning the game because of the objective focus, that they would transition, you know, team fights, things like that, into global objectives. Same thing happening here, and has kind of evolved into their current roster. But hold up, because Insec now looking at Cool.
Yeah, gold card. Where'd he go? Okay, I guess he flashed away. And yeah, they're able to get away for now, but there's only so many times you can get caught before things start to go a little bit wonky for OMG. And Starhorn, knowing this, can just keep pushing around all through the jungle. As long as they can keep taking objectives off of the misplays of OMG and overcommittals from OMG, they should be golden right now. But OMG playing the slow, long game, and I'm not sure why. They don't have the scaling comp to back it up.
It's a really nice job from Starhorn of really just being proactive on the map. Like OMG, they've had, I think, 2 proactive plays. They had the one up top where they took down Cola, and they had the one down bottom, but it was effectively counter-ganked. Other than that, they've been completely reactive in everything that they've done. And if Starhorn Royal Club recognizing this, doing a good job of, you know, like turning at the burner, putting on the heat, and forcing OMG to be uncomfortable, they're literally just going to outscale.
Yeah. At this point, it's starting to get a little bit troubling already. You see Kog'Maw nearly finished with the Blade of the Rune King going, and Cola actually duking it out with each other over this tower, but it's just an outer tier when they really need to be focusing more on what's about to unfold in the mid side. Teleports only available on going, although Cola is capable of stopping that, so he's got to get to a safe place. Yeah, you got a Lichbane Fizz, who's already got also his Zhonya's Hourglass, as well as what we mentioned on Kog'Maw. It's a real big problem when those two have gone completely unpunished this game.
I like the distortion boots. Speaking of, you know, items across the lane, on Cool has the definite CS advantage. The distortion boots just finished out his Hourglass, but while he's back in base, of course,
the shark comes out. Son taking the lantern. Okay, I will grab it this time. Big power play from Starhorn as they take themselves a tower as well. However, OMG mobilizing the defense, see if they can last it. Son, he's pretty low on health, can't dodge away from the living artillery. And Uzi laughing in the face of danger as he just plops his way to a couple more damage on the tower.
Plops.
That is the
It's a pretty accurate sound effect.
Is the appropriate sound effect, I'm fairly confident. Oh, Uzi, he might be in trouble here. That was the pick they needed. Son gets himself a kill. Kathy and Surprise is going to catch on a couple members. However, Drug is on the chase. Insect, Corn, Zero, trying to run away from this as fast as they can. The damage is not enough, and there's going to be Twisted Fate ulti coming around the side. Is it going to be a teleport in? I think so. Going's there. Drug's already down, though. Insect on the chase. Son's going to fall down, and that's Corn making a big play. Going. Everyone is scattered right now on OMG. OMG. Baron's even being hooked into this one. Zero, it's getting aggroed on him. Going switches targets. Cool is going to get himself a pick onto Corn. This fight has gone all sorts of completely wonky. Going runs into way too many people. Tries to back away from that one. They end up trading 2 for 2, but the fight's not done yet. Going looking for round number 2, and Zero is going to be able to back away from this one.
I cannot emphasize enough how that was almost classic Uzi. The fact that he gets hooked up by Cloud, probably the best Thresh player in the league. His Thresh is unreal. It's his classic MO. Uzi does amazing in lane, and then it comes team fight, and he just cannot position himself. Got too overzealous, got too overconfident. It doesn't turn complete disaster for Starhorn Royal Club, but it definitely gives OMG a leg back up into this. Again, the issue, though, is that OMG technically kind of took the advantage in the fight as far as taking down the priority carries, but they didn't transition this into any sort of objective for themselves.
Well, they go for the chase, and then they just don't have the follow-up damage. They're already weakened by the Acathian surprise. And even though it's a 4v3, yeah, this is really weirdly played. The flash forward, way too much damage. Insect manages to get a lot of CC lockup, and then Sans by himself versus Korn. And it just gets turned around with the teleport. It burns a lot of summoners on both sides, but you're right, they didn't capitalize on it. OMG really needs to take better fights than that if they want to get ahead in this game, especially against a higher scaling comp that Starhorn has.
Really beautiful play by Korn right there on that Fizz. Not only to pretty much juke Son out, but almost gave Cool a run for his money, too. I believe Cloud had to double back to save him.
Oh, Insect. His health's going down, and all of a sudden, Destiny's looking good right now for OMG. It's going to come in there with the gold card. Uzi getting stunned up on it. Not taking that much damage, however, it's Zero. Body blocking it out. He should go down in just a minute. Cataclysm coming around the side. Insect trying to make a play, but he falls down. Drug coming up big on that one, and everyone from OMG still alive, but maybe not for long. Cool gonna get his Zanyas on, and Korn chases targets. Turns around for Cloud. Cool will fall down isolated, and he follows with Cloud as well. Korn solo chasing onto the 3 remaining members of OMG. Decides that might not be the best idea. He'll back away. 2 for 2 trade again. Dead even, but Starhorn pretty happy with that turnaround.
And unfortunately, OMG, again, they have the numbers advantage, but the target that they chose to initiate and take down was just, like, look, Zero and Insect are the 2 tankiest members on the Starhorn Royal Club team, and they're the only members that died. If you're feeding that many of your cooldowns and resources into the tanks, you've already lost the fight. Korn showed up on the quote, last breath of it, completely healthy and ready to go.
Yeah, they body blocked extremely well on Starhorn. They kept Uzi alive, who could have gone down. He got stunned up in the beginning of that. They kept Korn alive, and both of these champions have only gone down once. This Dragon is now going down very quickly. Another one, perfect control for Starhorn of the Dragon Pit this game. Now OMG trying to make them pay for this one, and not going to connect with any of those skill shots as they back away safely. Again, Starhorn, a couple more 1,000 gold in their pockets.
OMG finally pinging out for objective, though. Let's see if they can... Ooh, was that a Baron ping?
We will see. Nobody's making a call for it just yet, but OMG trying to desperately get some advantage in this game. They are losing more and more ground. They will be able to take themselves out a first mid-tier turret to start to even that gap up just a little bit. But, yeah, they're pinging for Baron right now, and I don't know if they're starting to get a little desperate themselves.
I think they're just clearing the wards on it and warding it up themselves. Because effectively, Baron at this point would be like, hey guys, do you want to lose this game for sure? Let's do Baron.
Worse mistakes have certainly been made. Insect clearing out a pink ward around the side, maintaining vision for his team. And now the Baron is just being started up by Starhorn. This is not even thought of for just a moment by OMG, and now they realize, hey, this might be happening. Okay, here we go. Drug, he's getting locked up. Might not get a chance for the Smite Steal. He's going down in just a moment. Oh my goodness, no he's not. He stays alive, and then he goes down. Okay, immediately proving me wrong on that one. Baron's going to go down in favor of Starhorn Royal Club. And Drug and Cloud out of the picture for now, but Korn finally follows down. So still, 4-man, Baron, as well as 2 kills. Thank you very much to Starhorn. San's got himself a pair of double buffs. However, it's a dangerous situation right now.
Starhorn completely in the driver's seat right now. The mobility of their composition definitely punishing the fact that they had blue sides for that Baron.
No! Uzi gets the kill on him. He runs right into the living artillery. This is going to be another tower for Starhorn. OMG is looking like they forgot to eat breakfast or something. They're just completely out of it.
Weedios? Is that what they missed out on?
Oh boy, we're going to go back to that, aren't we?
I'll let it slide this time. Uzi coming up
No
big.
context is going to be given for that one.
No context. It would take too long.
It's just a terrible story.
Perfect use of the living artillery, like you said. The fact that he used it as a zoning tool, which you'll see this a lot on Kog'Maws in China. They'll throw it ahead of you, so it's like, hey, you either get to run into that or you get to sit closer to me and take my W. No, worst of both worlds. What do you want? Pick your poison.
Well, and this is Uzi's style. He loves diving for the kills, and he hasn't been punished for it as much. Son has never really gotten ahead on him. Yes, he has a decent power spike with the eye-edge shiv complete. However, he's forced to build very defensively from here on out, so you can already see the makings, the Negatron Cloak makings of probably a Banshee's Veil, but he could even go for the Guardian Angel just because of how these fights have gone. And they've got to be so careful in executing these split pushes. Cool has the tools to get out alive, but they have to contend with this bot side wave being pushed by Uzi and Cola right now. It's a double buff Uzi too. They don't want to take that on.
And to be frank, OMG just does not have the versatility, although, hold up a second, because it looks like they're about to get...
Oh, what exactly is Insect doing around the
face.
side? Okay, he gets out. That's completely fine. Yeah, Starhorn is just feeling very confident right now. They can go for the fights if they need to. Drug trying to chase Insect away. However, all the effort being focused. 4-man push squad on this bot side. Starhorn looking to try and seal up this map. If they take this one out, this will be the last outer turret remaining for OMG. And they're just waiting for the time and the minion wave to push it out. Going, trying to get a couple more minions as he can. But they really didn't get any significant advantage this game. OMG has been on the back foot from the very beginning. What is going on inside their heads, you think? Oh, we'll talk in a minute. Because right now it's probably panic, panic, run away. Cloud can't go anywhere. He goes down, prompting San to nearly get away, but being dove in by Korn. And that's a double Zanya's. Very beautiful. However, it's going to be cool falling down at the end of it. 4 members completely evaporated. Shyvana comes too late to the party. Tower falls. Got nowhere to go. This is going to be the beginning of the end as Starhorn pushes up the middle. They are looking very strong in this one. Confident to just push forward on the turret before the minion wave even arrives. Inhibitor number 1 going to fall with 20-second death timers. 30 seconds on some. They're just going to try to end this one. Why didn't go back? This is going to end in 30 minutes right now. And they don't have a reaction at all. Nexus towers are done. This game's already over, Frosk.
To be frank, failure in the composition of OMG. Like, that's effectively what it comes down to. The thing that I was talking about previously is if you look at the composition of Starhorn Royal Club and everything that it offers, I kept using the word versatility. Literally, they had anti-siege, they had tower dive, they had mobility, they had dual potential, all on the same thing. Like, you know, taking that Gragas top, the power of that champion and everything that it offers a team, having Fizz and Jarvan for that dive potential, having Kog'Maw, so they had the late game secured right there. OMG had a very one-dimensional, almost like a pick comp, and as soon as they, Starhorn recognized the power was in Cool's hands to effectively make use of that Twisted Fate Destiny Gate, immediately you saw them spinning all of the time. Wherever Cool was, that's where they needed to be. Why? Because it wouldn't allow him to use the Destiny, and it wouldn't allow OMG to utilize their composition correctly. So it was a great read from Starhorn Royal Club to find the early advantage in that 2v2, knowing that Uzi could shut down San and Cloud wouldn't be able to help him, knowing that, you know, this guy's on an early game champion. If he can't find the footing here, he's going to lose it all game, and then just pressuring that forward and taking over the rest of the map.
Yeah, with that, Starhorn has actually tied out World Elite for the 3rd place slot, and if they win another one, they'll get an additional 2 points, which would put them over World Elite into 3rd place for this playoff contention race. OMG not looking really like the 1st place team that they are. See if they can rebound. Of course, we will have to be taking a quick caster cooldown, guys. When we return, it'll be game number 2 of OMG and Starhorn Royal Club. Don't go anywhere because you're watching the LPL in English. We'll be right back.
就是应该是抓下大嘴那一波嘛，对，没有视野的地方，对，这个组还不错。可是在这个点上面的时候，因为前面讲的东西的关系，在这个点上面 ，OMG 的输出已经有一点跟不上。是的，我们这里看看小鱼人的位置，看小鱼人刚刚，他这一个回头也是回得很漂亮。这里小鱼人直接 E 回去 ，W 过去 E 小伞，小伞还没有看到，当时是没有反应过来，看到的瞬间已经太迟，来不及了。 这波也因为小伞被打掉的关系，OMG没有办法，他输出最大的就是小伞，对，然后逼出状态惊人，瞬间一个 Q 技能，不过那是没办法。